I am Bill Miller. I'm the Vice President of Purchasing and Marketing here at HillMarks, and we'll get started. So for those of you that are not aware, and I know that right now there's a lot of people that are not aware, I know our sales team has been in the marketplace over the last 3 or 4 months, really trying to educate as many people as possible, many of our customers and even future or non-customers, that New York State in the 2020 budget instituted a polystyrene foam ban. That foam ban is, as you can see here, is set to take effect on 1/1 of 2022, the end of this year going into next year. And that's the information that we have right now. So people are asking, well, is this going to affect me or not? The short answer is absolutely. The state is, again, they're banning foam. So this is going to affect schools, higher education, restaurants, healthcare, really anybody who is using polystyrene foam ban, with some exceptions. There are some exceptions to this ban. If the product is being used for meat, seafood, or poultry that is being sold for the purpose of cooking off premises. So, think of your butchers or at a grocery store packaging meat to be able to sell to somebody. That is not banned. That is still allowed. Also, prepackaged food are sealed prior to you receiving it. So if you're buying something from, let's say, Kraft Foods, and it comes in something that's styrofoam, if you're purchasing that as a finished good and merely selling it to somebody, that is still allowed. And then containers made of polystyrene that has not been expanded. So I think everybody is aware what foam is. It's kind of that squishy material. That is polystyrene that has been expanded, puffed up. There is polystyrene that has not been puffed up, and that is still allowed under the ban. And that'll be one of the options that you'll be able to move forward. So again, what will be banned? As I said, pretty much everything that is foam that a lot of you are probably using right now: lunch trays, hinged containers, cups, plates, platters, bowls, even the foam peanuts that are used for packaging. Those will also be banned. We happen to sell a peanut. It looks like foam. It is not foam. It is a recycled material. So if any of you are purchasing that from HillMarks currently, that particular item will still be allowed under the ban. It's not foam. So just to give everyone some heads up, because again, it doesn't seem as though there is a lot of knowledge out in the marketplace right now about what is happening. DEC is going to be the state agency that is going to be responsible for enforcing the foam ban. They have currently, right now, they have announced a public hearing, a public comment period that will be happening on November 15th of 2021. I have this information up here for you. It's going to be at 1 p.m. via WebEx. You can see on the screen what the address is. You can also search for this DEC foam ban public hearing and get access to the website. Right now, what they are doing is they are taking public comments into account. So if you or any members of your organization have concerns regarding the foam ban, whether pro or against, this is your opportunity right now to reach out to the DEC and to let them know what your thoughts are on that. There's several ways right now that you can have your voices heard, and I would encourage you, again, pro or con, to reach out to DEC and to let them know. First off, as I just said, you can participate in the public hearing. This is the website here where you can go and you can get that information. And again, this will take you to the website where it will have some of the information I'm going to share with you now. It'll also show you how you can register for the WebEx that will be happening on November 15th. Via email, you can send your comments, and right now we have done it ourselves and some others have as well, to foamban@dec.ny.gov. They do ask that you put comments on proposed part 353 in the subject line so that they know exactly what that is regarding, and that will be part of the public comment. And lastly, if you do want to submit a written letter, you're welcome to do that as well. Again, this is all due in before the November 15th public hearing, but the address here for DEC as to where they're taking that information is listed for you on the screen. So many ways for you to reach out to DEC to have your voice heard. Again, I recommend that if you do want to have your voice heard or you have concerns about the ban, again, pro or con, that you let your voice be heard. It's important for us as an entire community to have voices. So now the question: no more foam. Now what? What are we going to do? I would say right now, don't wait. Start planning for your alternatives now. January 1st is not that far away. It is a mere 3 months from roughly 3 months from right now. We're pretty much to October. Tried to dress it up with some fall colors today. But certainly I would say the most important thing right now is don't wait. Many of you have probably already been hearing from our sales team about what are you looking to do? What are your alternatives going to be? And there's a reason for that. And I'll get into that in just a few moments. But our sales team right now, they're educated on a lot of the alternatives that are in the marketplace right now. We've been talking about the foam ban here since March of earlier this year with some of our customers, and have started to really pick that education up again because it's getting a little closer. And again, a lot of people are still concerned or still unaware that the foam ban is even happening. So again, we're back to options. There's many options out in the marketplace right now. Aluminum, mineral filled polypropylene, or MFPP, is as we refer to it. Paper, plastic, and plastic has many forms in terms of PET, polypropylene, as well as polystyrene. Fiber, which is fiber, harvest fiber, bagasse products, sugarcane products. And then also PLA, which is a recyclable plant-based option. So I'm going to take you into some of these options now. I will tell you that not every option is going to work for you. These are varying in price as well as how these products perform. And really, this is where yourselves and working with our sales team, there's really a conversation needs to be had about what type of product you're looking for, what your needs are, and how these products are going to work for you. What I've tried to do here in this presentation is to lay these out in order of roughly price. If you're looking for the least expensive option to the highest expensive option, I've kind of tried to lay that out for you. So if you're questioning what the pricing looks like, that's kind of the order of the presentation. Price isn't always the be all and end all, obviously. Something might be very inexpensive, but it might not fit your needs. I would say that for the most part, trying to find something that is priced the same as foam is going to be very challenging. The same usage as foam, yeah, you'll be able to find something that will respond the same way that foam does. However, from a price standpoint, that becomes a little bit more challenging. But first off, I would say aluminum. Aluminum is it's a good option if you're looking to save on cost. It's recyclable, it's reusable, it resists oil and grease, and really it's good for both hot and cold. And you can't use it in a microwave, however, you can reheat it in the oven. So it does become something that is, again, very inexpensive, very versatile for a lot of restaurants and to-go options. And aluminum is something that there's availability of in the marketplace right now. Mineral filled polypropylene, again, MFPP, as you might have heard some of our sales team, if they're corresponding with you, they might refer to it as. Again, this is probably your next best option above aluminum. I've got some options here in terms of MFPP. So it's a little bit of a stiffer container. It is made with polystyrene and is mixed in with minerals to kind of not use as much plastic. So it's a little bit better for the environment. It is microwavable as well, up to 250 degrees. And again, it's got a nice tight seal, which I know helps a lot when you're talking about anything you have with liquids or sauces and whatnot. It does not soak through, it doesn't absorb moisture, and it's also grease resistant. These come in a variety of sizes and options, 9x9s, 6x6s. So there are options out there. For those of you that are looking for school lunch trays, we are bringing in an MFPP option that looks and feels just like like home. It's a little bit sturdier. It does not collapse as easy, but from a cost standpoint, it's a little bit more expensive than you would see for a harvest fiber or bagasse option. However, it is pretty sturdy. It just doesn't crush as easy as fiber does. So the MFPP is an option for school lunch trays. I'll move on to paper. There's a lot of paper options that are out there. Paper is environmentally friendly compared to foam. and plastic as well. It conserves heat very well and is grease resistant. You can see here heat lamp tolerable and it's a microwavable options. And again, with paper, there's a vast assortment of options right here. I got 2 pages of it between, you've got clamshell containers like so. You've got these really great, what we call eco boxes here, which come in a variety of sizes, colors, and options. Some of the larger ones even have multiple compartments that you're able to utilize. And these also are lined, so nothing will seep through. Paper is great for cup replacements. There's also options, as you can see here, for bowls. Paper is really a great option to really offset a lot of the foam usage. Specifically, I would say on plates and cups. Next up, plastic. And plastic, again, takes on many forms. PET, polypropylene, polystyrene. Many benefits to it. Cut and leak resistant on the product, non-absorbent, microwave. These are things you see in a lot of restaurants and a lot of to-go options. Typically, you see a black bottom, clear top. Some are vented, some are non-vented. We also have options that are clear and see-through. Plastic also has products in plates and bowls, deli containers as well, which can be used for a variety of sources. So plastic is another option that is out in the marketplace. Again, you start to move away a little bit from renewable, and it becomes more recyclable at that point, if that is something that you have a concern with. Then we have fiber. Fiber, again, is something that we sell a lot of here at HillMarks. School lunch trays. Right now, this is probably the biggest option that we're seeing some schools start to move to. Again, it's a little bit more expensive than the mineral fill polypropylene option that we have out there, but it is a nice option. It crushes a little bit easier when they're being disposed. So they do crush and make it a little easier to compact than the MFPP option. They're compostable and biodegradable in most cases, and they do conserve heat. Fiber is available for, as I said, school lunch trays, hinge containers, plates, bowls. You can see some options here on the screen, but again, there's a variety of options here for you under fiber as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about supply chain and really why we are pushing for alternatives now, why we have our sales team out there trying to speak to as many of you as possible. I'm sure that everybody right now in one way, shape, or form is experiencing supply chain issues on multiple fronts, both in your businesses as well as in your own life. Whether you're trying to purchase parts for a car or get a new car or find sneakers, there's shortages across the board on a whole variety of materials and products out in the marketplace, both at retail as well as B2B. We're no different. And I think that you've probably felt that a little bit. And we are working tirelessly, probably see some bags under my eyes, unfortunately, about the hours we're putting in trying to procure additional products to fill all the gaps that are out in the marketplace right now. Those gaps aren't going to end at the end of this calendar year, unfortunately. Those gaps those issues are expected to continue on really through 2022 and hopefully start to get better. So alternative products right now, they're in short supply. We have some very big concerns here about replacing foam because right now, although foam is what it is serving a need right now, which is it's giving us product for all of you to use in your facilities and in your restaurants and your storefronts. When you take those boxes, those cases out of the mix, there isn't a whole lot of product that's being manufactured right now to be able to fill that void. So for us here as an organization and to help all of you as we get closer to this pending foam ban on 1/1, the more information we have from you and our sales team has for you regarding what type of alternatives you're looking for will allow us to go and start to build inventory now so that we're prepared for your needs as best as possible when you're ready. Waiting until 12/15 to let us know, I will tell you, will be a problem. It'll be a problem for us. It'll be a problem for anyone to try to secure that product because there's just not a lot of supply in the marketplace right now. Quite frankly, this supply chain is broken. There's stories about it every day. and nothing surprises me anymore. Most recently, there has been um, information that through 2023, the supply chain challenges are going to persist. And people have asked why. Well, there's a whole variety of reasons. This week, it happened to be energy cuts that are going on in China. So plants are not able to manufacture at 100% the way they were. The ports are just completely backed up with container ships that are coming from overseas. Domestic supply, everyone I'm sure is experiencing again in one way, shape, or form labor shortages that are going on in the marketplace right now here in the U.S. Our manufacturers are not exempt from that. Between social distancing in 2020, they weren't able to run their manufacturing plants at 100%. They were not able to take in raw materials the way they typically would because those manufacturers were not running at 100%. Up to just people not wanting to come back to work or not being able to come back to work, which is really what we're dealing with right now. These plants have not been able to run at 100%, and usage has been through the roof over the last 18 months. Specifically with takeout, taking a lot of containers into the marketplace with more people ordering to go options. They have not been able to keep up with demand. There have been hurricanes, there have been storms, there have been freezes in Texas that have shut down raw material plants where they make the resin for plastic. There have been snowstorms, there have been pipeline shutdowns, there's going to be a great movie made someday. I don't know what the name of it's going to be, but it's going to be about the last 18 months and all the different challenges that we've all been faced with. And, kudos for all of us for still being here and making this happen and continuing to make sure that we're servicing the needs of our customers and your customers. So again, the supply chain is broken. I would say that the best thing to do right now is to keep an open mind on alternatives. We are going to do everything we can. Our sales team is going to do everything they can to make sure that we have the alternatives that all of you are going to need or want for your customers, for your people, for your students. However, as I said, there are challenges in the marketplace getting supply. Containers, which typically take 3 to 4 months overseas, are now taking 5 to 7 months. The cost of those containers, which used to be $5,000 to get across the ocean, now range in price from $18,000 to $25,000. So I would say to make sure you're keeping an open mind to what alternatives you might be looking to move to. And again, our people are well versed in options right now that will be able to help you both short term and long term. It will get better. Without a doubt, it will get better. We're starting to see little things here and there start to get better. Last year, going from May through the start of the school year in August, September, and October of last year, there was a massive shortage of hand sanitizer and soap and wipes and toilet paper, paper towels, etc. That got better. More supply was brought on. People were able to get back to work in those facilities, and they really made things better. This current situation that's going on, we feel the same way. It's patience, and I know that a lot of us probably don't have it anymore. I know I even myself am at a point where patience is not my strong suit anymore. However, it will get better, and it's just a case of having an open mind and also being patient. So just to recap, and then we'll take some questions as well, and then we'll move on to our presentations from Pactiv and Worldcentric, who are going to show you some of the fantastic options that they have and some of the stories behind their product and why they might be good options for you. Again, New York State foam ban takes effect on 1/1/2022. This is not a HillMarks foam ban. This is not HillMarks deciding that we don't want to carry foam anymore for our customers. This is New York State making the decision a couple of years ago that they want to ban foam. I have had some questions. I'm sure there might be one now about whether or not this will get pushed back, similar to the plastic bag ban that was supposed to take effect in 2020. The answer is we don't know. And right now, from a business standpoint, we are not going to run the risk that the state does not push this back because there's been no conversation regarding pushing it back, and we have spoken to several outlets. We're not going to take the chance that this does not get pushed back, and we are not in a position to handle all of your needs. So right now, we are 100% moving towards the expectation that foam will be banned on 1/1, and we are putting ourselves in a position to have the product that all of you are going to need when that foam ban takes effect. What's going to be impacted? Again, containers, cups, bowls, plates, food trays, all will be banned. Meat trays are not banned. Just to keep that in mind. Those are not banned. And any product that you're buying that's already shipped to you in a foam container, if it's sealed and it's just pretty much retail use, that is not banned as well. Depending on the use, there's many options available to you. You know, we went through many of them here with you. You've got aluminum, you've got paper, MFPP, fiber, plastic, TLA. There are many options that you can look to move towards. It's really going to depend on, again, what your usage is, what you're using the products for, and really your budget. Those two things combined. Supply chain, again, as we just talked about, is not stable right now. I would be planning your options now. I cannot stress to you enough that the longer you wait to decide your option, the harder it's going to be to fill that option. And deciding your option doesn't mean that you have to cut an order today for that product. Deciding on your option means you can have a conversation with our sales team and say, salesperson, in the middle of December, I'm planning on moving to this product, and here's how much I'm planning on using. And then we can take that information, we can put it into our purchasing our formulas that we use, and we can start building inventory for it. Again, I will stress, if you wait, it is going to be much harder for you to be able to secure product from anybody because there is such a strain right now on the supply chain. And it's only getting harder right now as we move into the winter months than it is easier. Chinese New Year is not that far away. And I bring that up because anything that is coming from overseas becomes a shutdown for about 3 to 4 weeks where China does not manufacture product. This year, the Winter Olympics will be taking place. They had to shift them due to COVID, which means there's an additional 2 weeks that we are expecting that Chinese plants will not be manufacturing product. That is a tremendous strain on everything that is imported from China. Domestic product shouldn't be impacted by that unless they're using raw materials such as fiber that they import from overseas. So again, plan your options now. Work with our sales team who will work with us to ensure that we have products available for you. I cannot stress enough how important it is right now for us to be getting that information so that we have what you need. Plan for a second option. I say this because your first option might not be available. Your first option might be on a ship that's delayed 30 days because there's 100 ships off the coast of California right now that can't come to shore. If you'd like to fact check, feel free to Google it. It's out there. There are pretty much articles every day regarding the issues with getting product in from off of boats on the West Coast. There are rail delays bringing product from the West Coast to the middle of the country, which then product gets shipped out via trucks from there. There's a truck driver shortage, or I will just say a driver shortage in general. Those of you in schools are probably experiencing school bus driver shortages right now. That is, again, nobody is exempt from any of these issues that are happening, and all of this impacts the supply chain. So again, I urge you to make sure you get your option A and your option B in the event that option A doesn't become available when you need it. We are here to work with you. We are here to support you, and we are here to help you. And most importantly, we are all here to get through this together. And that's the end of what I have to go over. So with that, I've got Katie here, and I think I might have seen some questions pop up during. So if you want to read them off to me, and I will attempt to answer them. And I want to thank everybody too for your time this morning. I know it's hard to even find time to do things like this. We'd originally expected to have this as an in-person event, and here we are again doing more virtual. But I'm glad we're able to even spend the time this morning. So, Katie, why don't you throw some at me?
So we have a couple comments and a couple questions. We have one that says we want to see cheaper, therefore we can pricing.
What do I have to say towards that? I would certainly make your comments known to the state,
Hey,
to
hey,
DEC.
Bill.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. At least I had a hard time hearing what the question was from Katie.
Why don't you come over here? So the question was, somebody had submitted a question that they run a school nutrition program. They do not have additional funding in their budget for anything besides foam. I believe, was that the question in a nutshell? So they cannot increase pricing, which is a challenge because
Sorry?
everything will know that
Yes.
foam is your least
Sorry, I'm
expensive.
trying to watch a little bit of this webinar on all the foam stuff.
So foam is really your least expensive option out there. So your next best option, I would say, would be MFPP, which is it is a slight increase in expense. And again, you can work with your HillMarks sales reps to figure out exactly what that pricing is going to be.
Another question?
I would say I don't have a good answer to that because foam is cheap. And this is one of our concerns with the ban is that foam is very inexpensive. We know a lot of schools use foam for their lunch trays. And again, I would make your voice heard to the state regarding that. So unfortunately, I don't have a good answer regarding that because every single option that we have right now, and not even right now, in the future, is going to be more expensive than foam, including if you were to put things in an aluminum tray. There's going to be a price increase over foam. Now, how big of a price increase is that? Again, that's a conversation to have with your HillMarks sales reps. They can take you through the variety of options that we have as well as when we're expecting. I would say that the MFPP option is probably your best option from a school lunch tray perspective, just because I know from the pricing between this and the nice fiber, this is definitely your least expensive option between the two. And I would say that I would love to have an option for you that matched the price of foam. But again, I'll reiterate that this is not HillMarks dictating this ban. This is the state. And we're just trying to come up with options for you that will serve your needs at this point.
And then another question was, how do customers file for an exemption?
Sure. So there is a potential, I will say potential of exemptions. And I will caution at the end with my concerns regarding the exemption. So DEC at some point will be issuing a waiver exemption. And who can be exempt? There's a list. I will use my cheat sheet here because the exemptions include community meal programs, food pantries, places of worship, as well as you can apply for what they refer to as a hardship waiver. If you do not operate 10 or more locations in New York State, you don't have a franchise agreement, and you have an annual gross income of $500,000. Those are the top line exemptions. Will schools be allowed to apply for an exemption? I would assume yes. The DEC has not issued their waiver application yet. And I checked as of last night. So I would recommend that you go on to DEC's website or search DEC foam ban. There is a website where this information is, and you can sign up for alerts. Now, what I will caution you with, as of right now, the way the waiver reads, and this is something we're working with some of our variety of people that do legislative outreach, the way the waiver or the way the legislation has been written, you are able to apply for a waiver potentially to be able to carry foam. However, you can only purchase that item from somebody outside of the state of New York. So although you might be saving on your per item or your per unit fee, you might be paying a large amount of money to ship the product into the state of New York. Because if you are in the state of New York, like a HillMarks or many of other companies that do our type of business in the state, you can't sell the product to you and they can't ship the product to you. It has to come from out of state. So more to come on that. But again, that is the DEC's interpretation of the legislation, which has been confirmed by two other folks. And I would just caution that the waiver process, you might be granted a waiver. However, you might find it more expensive or even more challenging to be able to get that product to you because it's not going to be coming from a place within the state of New York or anywhere near you.
Okay, we have a few more questions, but I did want to answer one of them that said, will this slideshow be available? Yes, we are recording this and it will be available today. So just wanted to let you know that. And then another question we have is, will there be a grace period to use up current inventory, especially a summer seasonal business?
Yeah, so to protect ourselves, I will just say no. I can't tell you that there will be a grace period. Again, we are not the ones policing this. We are not the ones that are instituting this. This would be DEC. That would be they would be the ones who would be policing this ban. So I would say that any questions, again, that same email address that I posted earlier, the phone ban at dec.ny.gov. If you have questions such as grace periods and such, I would send those questions directly to DEC. For me to tell you that yes, there's going to be a grace period, and then you get a ticket for $200, I wouldn't do that. Our assumption here is that ban is going to take effect on 1/1. We are preparing now by starting to sell down on certain items right now, so that when we get to that point, we don't have any foam left in the building. We are out of foam because we can be penalized for shipping that product. I will tell you that it's not something that we want to do, or that we will do. We're not planning on putting foam on our trucks after 12/31 of 2021, barring a change or some sort of a pushback in the implementation of the ban.
Okay, farm stands using foam trays for products. They pre-packaged and displayed. Is that allowed?
I'm going to have to look into that one because I don't believe that you will be able to. But if you wouldn't mind, do you have who sent that?
Yes, that was Chris Young.
Oh, Chris Young. Okay, Chris Young. I will get that answer to you, and we're going to end up doing in a frequently asked question sheet at some point in probably the next 30 to 45 days as we get closer to this. I know cheese is not. It was meat and fish. That was poultry, meat, fish. That was it. We did ask about cheese because we do have a customer who's using cheese for some packaging, and DEC said no, that is not part of the exemption. So I will look into produce, and I'll be able to share that information as part of our FAQ that we'll put out before probably in, I would say, November.
Okay, fabulous. So we'll wrap up this question session right now, but we have two more before we do.
I'm here all day. So.
We're here all day. In a reference to orders, how are you securing responsible orders? When is the delivery guaranteed?
I'm not sure I understand the question. When are we?
How are you securing responsible orders, and when is the delivery guaranteed? I'm not sure. Deborah did ask that question, so if Deborah wants to elaborate further on that for a little bit more clarity, that'd be great.
Thanks. What I'm asking about is when we put our orders in online on Friday afternoon and go home for the weekend, then we get our delivery first thing Monday morning and it's shorted. So when we put our orders in on Thursday, when is it guaranteed that that's what's actually coming? We've had experiences where we've ordered, say, 10 of something, and then someone else comes in behind us and orders before us, their delivery comes before us, and then we lose the product.
Yeah. So our ordering process, when you put your order in, your product is what we call reserved. So it's even though somebody might take a shipment prior to you, we do reserve that inventory based on your order. So let's just say hypothetically we have 15 cases here in the warehouse and you order 5. When that order comes in, we now have 10 available units in the warehouse. Again, I'll tell you that the supply chain right now is I've been in purchasing here for a couple of years and elsewhere for 23 years prior to that. I have never experienced a more miserable 18 months of my entire life regarding supply chain. And it is the worst I have ever seen. It is the worst to any of our manufacturers, who I know we have 2 manufacturers that are coming on, and I know the conversations we've been having them. It is rough. It is rough between containers not getting here on time, between crazy stuff. Like we had a box of product a couple of weeks ago that somebody opened up and the wrong product was inside. There's every possible scenario that could go wrong is going wrong right now. And unfortunately, we can't correct it fast enough. We, meaning the entire world. But to answer your question in terms of responsible ordering and delivering, if we have the product here in the warehouse and you submit an order, your product is allocated towards your order. So you should get what you ordered as long as we have it in stock. I'm sure our sales team, has communicated to you the outages have been tremendous over the last, again, over the last year plus. Last year, it was some of the items I talked about earlier, soap, sanitizer, towel, tissue, disinfectants, all the stuff you probably were dealing with last year. This year now, it's very heavy on the food service side. Really all food service items. And that is, quite frankly, one of our concerns with this ban is that we're going into a time where typically manufacturers would be building their inventory for spring and summer of next year. They're just building inventory right now to fill orders that they have to get out the door. So in terms of the responsibility, if your order's in the system and we have the product, it is being allocated towards you. And what was the second portion of the question was the timeliness of the delivery?
Yes, the second part of the question was.
You answered the whole question, both
Oh, okay,
questions.
good. Thank you. Yeah, it's not, yeah, I guess it's more, to sum it up, it's first come, first serve in terms of when the order comes in, not necessarily when you ship the order or when your delivery is about to take place.
Okay, I have another question. I ordered trays on September 9th. I've been told they have been on back order this whole time. Will I still get them?
Well, great that the gentleman from Pactiv is coming up next.
Right.
Chris Parks, when you're going through your presentation, if you could, be kind enough to maybe spend about 45 seconds to a minute just discussing the challenges that Pactiv, and I'm assuming that is a foam, that is a foam tray that person is referring to. Pactiv happens to be typically our very reliable source for foam lunch trays, and they have had their own challenges that I'm sure I will hand that off to Chris Parks from Pactiv.
I'll take it. Well, thanks.
But yeah, so Chris will be able to comment a little bit on that. We do have lunch trays on order, both foam and fiber. We are expecting product in. It's just a case of when our suppliers are able to supply us the product. We have not backed down at this point of any of our higher turning items. We're going to continue to purchase them at the rate that we've been actually exceeding the rate that we have been purchasing them at, because we are trying to build inventory every week to try to get ahead. Unfortunately, when we try to buy 1,000, they might cut us to 0. And you can imagine how what type of a situation that puts us in.
Right now, we've us as a company have seen this coming for ages. New York is not the first state to go through this. Maine is already foam free. Maryland went foam free. And so we truly had seen foam kind of disappearing pre-pandemic. You were seeing less and less. Over the years, we'd seen our orders go down, and simultaneously you saw our orders on earth-friendly products that were not foam kind of starting to trend up more and more. So we had put this goal out there: by 2030, 100% of our products are being made from recycled, renewable materials. It's something that we're really kind of looking at our entire footprint as far as, not just that stuff is renewable, reusable, recyclable, but it's also the fact that things like, all right, well, what is our carbon footprint? How much water are we using in our plants? What we're seeing, and the reason why I think this is important to y'all, is that more and more customers are asking for that story, right? More and more end users. We do think that it is something that, and I get it that things like schools and stuff are in a different boat, but it is something that people are starting to ask more and more about. All right, so here's some of the items. I'll hop right in here that we've and HillMarks has brought in. One thing I will say also about HillMarks is that Bill and his entire team has really, they've really been leaning into this entire thing. So when all this came down, Bill called me like the day after, and we started having this conversation, and it's been an ongoing conversation. So, I deal with people all over the Northeast, and I've got a bunch of customers in New York State. I will say that HillMarks and Bill's team they've really kind of led the way when it's come to making sure that HillMarks and all of HillMarks customers are set up for success. So Bill spoke earlier about MFPP, mineral filled polypropylene. This is a product category that we kind of started probably about 10 to 12 years ago. And within the last year and a half, we came out with a new design of this. It's vented, with the uptick in takeout, with the uptick in delivery, and people, you know, who've never been in those areas are now participating in. We saw that this was a good time to come out with something new that would kind of cater to that. So our new, you know, it's got smart vents. It's to keep that crispy food, you know, where it's not getting all mushy and stuff. It's got a perimeter seal, great for, you know, if it gets thrown in a bag or, and I've tested this. All right. I legitimately, I do my tests when I get samples. I put water in it, turn it upside down, turn it sideways. As long as water doesn't go to the vents, it holds. So great for, you know, delivery, takeout type deal. They are reusable. Top rack dishwasher safe. I'm not sure that that's necessarily a huge selling point, but I've got small kids, and I do send these containers and reuse them to my kids for lunch. Cost effective, and it's also, you know, it is foam ban compliant. Dual color hinge lid. Once again, Bill brought in some of these, and this is an item that we came out with less than a year ago. We've seen huge success with it. It's a great container. Once again, top rack dishwasher safe. It's got the smart vents, so it, you know, stuff doesn't get mushy, and it's got a tearaway lid. I know that HillMarks has some of these on their floor, but once again, foam ban compliant, and it really gives a good presentation. Dual color. This is something that we've also released. Two-piece container. I think, especially if you've got family meals that are going to be going home, the larger container is a great option. Stackable design. We've got small, medium, and large. Less plastic. That's where one of the environmentally, you know, conscious things that we paid attention to is made from 50% less plastic. So it's that much less material being used. And anti-fog and venting. Great, you know, great option for any sort of takeout delivery. And they stack very, very well. All right, so one of the main things too, and Bill kind of already hit on all these things, but some of the challenges that we've had as a manufacturer. So raw materials, it's been a trickle-down effect, whether it was, you know, the storms that happened along the Gulf Coast last fall. So you have the hurricanes, you know, through Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, and Alabama. Then you turn around and you've got this winter freeze that happened in Texas. Well, that shut down the resin manufacturers for about 2 weeks. The frozen pipelines, that we've not been able to catch up to that. So, and this kind of goes into the school lunch tray question. So when you're looking at school lunch trays, all of that resin is made from, you know, is made down on a lot of it's come from the Gulf Coast. Now we have other suppliers, but, you know, when the supply is limited to that resin to make foam, whether it's foam hinge lid or school lunch trays or bowls or plates or whatever the case may be, then us as a manufacturer has to start making decisions. So we also didn't know what the schools were going to do. We had reached out to schools and been asking this question, and reached out to municipalities, what are y'all going to do? And it was never really kind of conveyed to us. So we built our inventory starting in April for the upcoming fall school year. If, you know, when we started asking those questions and we didn't hear anything, and I get it, there's a lot of uncertainty. So we made the decision to, all right, we're not going to make as much foam school lunch trays as we normally make. We're going to go with foam hinge lid because more people can use it. And a lot of schools have been using it. I mean, I've got schools over in Connecticut that say, all right, we're still going to be using foam, but we're not going to use a school lunch tray. We've got to use a hinge lid because our school board or our district is saying that the food has to be covered. So we made the very, you know, conscious decision. All right, well, since we don't know if they're going to take them or not, we're going to stick with more of the foam hinge lid. Demand, highest it's ever been. We are making more and shipping more than we've ever made. So we had a product category, and the way that my company measures things is we don't measure it in cases. We don't measure it in dollars. We measure it in pounds shipped. So we had a product category in the spring where we had we were shipping 6.5 million pounds of this product category. We had 9.5 million pounds of orders against it, just to kind of give you a sense of how high the demand is on takeout containers right now. Labor, once again, whether you're talking about resin, and it also flows into transportation, but working in a manufacturing plant is not. It's not. I would just say it's not that much of a desirable position. So when you go and you looked at, and Whole Foods is starting people out at $15, $16, $17 an hour, and somebody could sit there and they can have their phone on them and check Facebook and make the same that they would make, working in one of our plants. It's been challenging. There's also been some government subsidies that people been receiving that have kind of kept them out of the manufacturing facilities. But that's been one of the challenges as well. And then transportation. We have contracted carriers, but when we're trying to ship stuff nationwide and we're trying to move stuff between warehouses, and then orders are increasing, we're having to go out to the spot market more and more. Well, we may go and bid on the spot market. Someone may accept our bid. Let's say that lane's going to cost us $4,000. Well, we've had instances where all of a sudden, I guess that individual is still on the, bidding on the spot market. They get an opportunity to take a shorter lane for more money, and then we're sitting there left wondering where our truck is. So that's also been a challenge. And I put down there at the bottom, don't make assumptions on availability. Go ahead and start ordering and putting your forecast in. One of the things that was discussed earlier was aluminum, and I saw that it looked like someone asked the question. Deborah asked the question if you've heard aluminum is short. Well, a lot of aluminum comes from China, and China is having their own manufacturing problems as well. So, like Bill was saying earlier with the Chinese New Year, one of the things that China's having a problem right now is electricity. They're having there was a great New York Times article a day or so ago about China's issues with electricity and how that's affecting their manufacturing capacity. So a lot of aluminum, it may be formed and put into sheets and whatever, but a lot of that raw aluminum comes from China. So yes, there is a disruption in the aluminum market as well. And I know it's not just our company. I'm hearing it from multiple manufacturers. I'm hearing it from multiple distributors all over the Northeast and all over the country. So I would say don't make assumptions on availability. Go ahead and start talking to your HillMarks rep now, and also, like Bill said, have an option A, an option B, and option C. I mean, everybody's doing the best that we can. I know that our company has sunk millions and millions of dollars into paying people bonuses, hiring initiatives, all types of incentives to get people in our plans, and it's worked to a point, but I mean we're still short. So I would just say don't make assumptions and be willing to be flexible and have a backup. All right. Because a lot of times I get calls and it's like, all right, well, I've got to have this. I've got to have this one container that's this shape and this size. Well, it's kind of putting the distributor and then myself in a place to where we can't really help. So what I would say is, all right, what capabilities do you need the container to have? And then that gives us some leeway to our left and right and say, all right, well, as long as we're in here, we should be fine. All right, well, my container has to take hot foods or it has to be microwavable. If that's where we can stay, to where those are the only like one or two requirements, then people like your HillMarks rep and myself and Worldcentric, we can help you. And then resources. So our company has spent a lot of time and effort and money investing in resources over the last 18 months. making, we've got an app that you can download on your phone. We have a brand new Earth Choice website. We have a lot of these different handouts. So if you have a particular type of restaurant, like let's say that you have an Italian restaurant, we have a flyer specifically for that type of restaurant. So if I do takeout. All right, we have a specific flyer for takeout that you can go and look at different options that will work for you. Also on our Earth Choice website, I know that across the state, even though the state is going foam free, there are certain municipalities within the state that have other bans. You can go to our Earth Choice website and you can look at the municipal product restrictions. That I think there's some like Ithaca and some other areas, especially like college towns, seem to have some of these. We're banning straws for some reason. The turtles. So just we have multiple things that we can help you and help give y'all some more information. And yeah, that's about it. Is there Katie, am I missing something? I saw some I'm looking to see if there's any questions. Best
There
options
is.
for ice cream shops for Sundays. What?
Yep, that's a question. We have what are the best options for ice cream shops for Sundays? 6-ounce, 8-ounce, or 12-ounce size dishes, and lids that fit for takeout. Our seasonal shop does not serve hot foods.
Yeah, I mean, so if you're looking for something with a lid, and it doesn't have to be, what I would say is if you're looking for something with a lid, I mean, if there's a paper option out there, maybe a molded fiber option, and then the other, from the items that I was showing y'all, I mean, I think one of those L6, 8. I'll have to get back to you on that one. Because I've got some ideas that are going through my head, but I would need to kind of throw that around with Bill and see what he would think. I don't want to speak out of turn, Bill. And Roger, are you up to something?
Okay, and then another question that we have is a customer pre-packs 4, 8, and 12-ounce foam in the fridge right now, a couple days in advance, dips, slaw, sauce, etc. Will paper DP containers hold up for days in a fridge with liquid content?
I think it would depend on the paper. Because I know that I got a cup of soup the other day that came in a paper cup, and it was we left it in the refrigerator for a couple days. But I think it would depend on the paper, and I would test it. I mean, if I'm going to put something that I know that's going to have to stay, I'm probably going to look at an option like a MFPP or polypropylene type option, to be quite honest, because I know for a fact, without a shadow of a doubt, that's gonna hold. That would be my suggestion.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Gina Cascula with Worldcentric. I'm the Director of Sales for the East. And so a lot of the things that we're going to talk about are going to sound familiar to some of the previous presentations you've heard, but I would like to talk a little bit about Worldcentric just before we dive into some products. So Worldcentric exists to be of service to people and planet. So everything that Worldcentric does is 100% compostable. So you're not going to find any plastic or foam in our line. We began as a nonprofit in 2004, and in 2007 actually moved to becoming a B Corp. As part of that, we do donate 25% of our net profits to grassroots environmental and human rights charities around the world, including some locally here within the Northeast. We're really focused on our mission and making sure that we're doing the right thing for the earth, which is, reducing waste, making only compostable packaging, which we're going to talk a little bit more about. Rethinking business, making sure that, we're doing the best things for not only our team, but also our factory workers. We provide bonuses to them and make sure that they're getting fair wages. Our extended supply chain, all of those. Also, alleviating poverty. And so we do focus a lot of that 25% at, funding the poorest of the poor around the world. And also just really as environmental things. So making sure that we're planting trees, that we're doing 100% carbon offsetting, and being a good steward to the earth. At the bottom here, you can actually see, so for fiscal year 2020, that 25% came out to $1.6 million. And so that was done 792,000 through direct impact giving. So that went to small, giving organizations throughout the world. Our carbon offsetting was 487,000, and then product donations. So we did see our product donations spike up throughout the last year, directly because of the pandemic. We wanted to be good stewards, and so we donated a lot of product into organizations that were helping to feed, those out of work, and different restaurants that were struggling. A lot of partnerships with small restaurants across the country. Just a little bit on our carbon offsetting. So when we talk about doing those carbon offsets for fiscal year 2020, that includes our manufacturing, shipping to the US, or if we're manufacturing in the US, all of the shipping to our factories, our warehouse operations, our office operations, and then also shipping out to each of our distribution partners. And so it really is full cycle from, the manufacturing of our products until it gets to your distributor. And that includes like my travel and all of those things. So we had a little less carbon offsets this past year because of not as much travel happening. And then also, through the pandemic, there were times where at the beginning of the year, sales were a lot lower. I'm not going to go through all of these, but again, we really focus on our mission, and it's really important for us to make sure that we are doing fair manufacturing practices and that we're being good partners across the world. 3 great reasons to use our products. So they are sustainable materials. So when we talk about fiber products and our compostable products, they're annually renewable plants, and they're the byproducts of other industries. And so a lot of our fiber products and our new no-tree products are actually made from sugarcane and wheat straw. And so those are the byproducts of the sugar and the wheat industry. So once the farmers are finished actually producing those, we're able to use that leftover material instead of it being burned or over-tilled to make our products. Plastic and polystyrene are derived from petroleum, and they create pollution and toxicity during the production and disposal, where ours use less of that product. And so, you can see in this graphic to the right that for every 2 petroleum forks made, we could actually make 2 of ours with the same energy, and then we can make 3 plates to 1. Down at the bottom, I talked a little bit, featured a little bit of our products, talking about our craft paper lids, which are made from bamboo. Somebody mentioned ice cream. So these no-tree, so our no-tree line, we're very excited about. Traditional hot bowls and cold bowls and cold cups, hot cups are all made from tree paper, which, trees take multitudes of years to grow, where bamboo is actually very quick to grow. And so our no-tree line is made 100% from bamboo and sugarcane, again, eliminating the cutting of trees, but yet they function the same as a traditional paper bowl or hot cup or cold cup, but without the non-recyclable or compostable lining that goes with them. So these are fully compostable with a bio lining. We have a lot of fiber products, including many with no PFAS. And so, there is also a PFAS conversation that can be had. It's an additive that's put into, fiber across the entire industry. And we are really excited to have a multitude of items that are PFAS free already, with a goal of having an even broader line as we move into 2022. I know Chris mentioned a straw ban. We do have paper straws. And, I was the first to say, I'm not really sure about paper straws, but I do stand by these straws. We were just at Expo East the past week, and we left a paper straw in some water and one in soda for 3 days. And at the end of the 3 days, it hadn't unraveled or started to break down in any way. So I'm more than happy to get samples of those out to you if you would like to try those. This is a list of everything that our great partner HillMarks actually stocks as of July in the Worldcentric products. And so you can see there's a mixed variety, everything from our Notary cups that we were talking about, so the hot cups, also our cutlery, which is compostable, but very durable. We have those in individually wrapped. And then we also have, hinged fiber. And so, we've talked a little bit throughout this presentation about supply chain. And so, supply chain is an issue for Worldcentric as well. Our factories are producing product. We're great. We don't have any capacity issues going into, even looking to the future and the demand that will be increased with, the foam ban and just increased demand across the industry. So we're able to make it and we're able to sell it and get it to you. The challenge is that middle piece, and that's the transportation and the logistical challenges that we are facing across the world in not just food service, but across the entire shipping industry. And so, as Bill was mentioning earlier, those shipping times are longer. And so going to kind of echo the same thing that Bill and Chris talked about, which is that, the more forecasting you can do, the better we're going to be able to be prepared to support you going into this styrofoam ban that is coming. These are, just the list of items that HillMarks was stocking as of July. We do have over 350 items. And so, I encourage you to work with your HillMarks team if there are other items that may not fit, leaving from a foam item to see if there's an option with Worldcentric for those. A little bit more on the Notary. So we did actually just expand our Notary line to add some fry cups, sandwich wedge, and then also those boxes. And so we do have window boxes, which have PLA, and then also the full boxes. Again, these are completely compostable. They're suited for hot foods, cold foods, even heat lamps and warming oven tolerant. So we were able to, change the temping of the PLA windows, and you can actually use these for heat lamps. And, again, they're 100% renewable plant fibers. And so then this is just, we have an amazing partnership with Performance Sales and Marketing there in the upstate New York market. And so we're really excited. I know Mark is on the call as well. And then I'm the director of sales, and Karen is the one who processes the orders. So I did want to just add them into that. And so I guess at this point, I did want to, just say that shipping and logistics, of course, is a challenge for everyone across the industry. And I'm not going to downplay that. We appreciate your patience and, kind of just echoing what we've heard already. The more forecasting, the more partnership that we can talk about, the better it's going to enable us to be able to support you. And so, with that, I open up for any questions.
We have a question from Nancy. Fabulous presentation, and she did want to ask, how do the bamboo products compare to the price of paper products?
So I can't actually honestly answer that question because I'm not sure what the cost of paper products are. But I would say chat with your HillMarks sales representative, and we can make sure that they have all the information to answer those questions for you.
Hi, everyone. There was a question somebody had put in earlier about gloves. So I'll address that one right now. Right now, gloves don't seem to be a big concern right now. Excuse me. We have been told by some of our suppliers that with the issues that are happening with, I should take that back for a second. Talking vinyl specifically. Nitrile as well. Both of those two options are, I would say, some readily available. We'll say for the most part, there has been some spot outages here and there on select sizes, but for the most part, vinyl gloves have currently been in pretty strong supply. Everybody knows what was going on last year. Prices are starting to get back in line. However, with vinyl, there are some concerns with the shipping delays, as well as the Chinese New Year and the shutdown for the Olympics, that there could be some sort of a delay when we get into, let's say, December through March with getting some product here stateside. We're in a pretty good shape right now. We've actually, just this morning, we submitted our buys from now through, I would say, about May of 2022. The vendors have accepted those orders, and the expectation is they'll be able to flow product for us on vinyl. Nitrile, similar for the most part. We're in stock and we're good shape. There are some concerns there as well, just regarding shipping here to the States. And latex and some of the hybrids. There are, I would say, some shortages that are going on for latex and some of the hybrid options that are in the marketplace. So vinyl, nitrile, pretty good. Hybrid and latex, if those are options that you use, I would probably always keep an extra case or two on hand to make sure that if there is delays out there, that you're in a good spot. And typically the outages that we're seeing are not just they're not just here. All of our suppliers that we go to typically are experiencing a similar problem at that time. So yeah, again, on behalf of HillMarks, we thank everybody for your time this morning. And again, we are here for you to answer questions, to help with recommendations, to help you get through this ban that is coming on, again, 1/1/2022. If there are any changes to that, we will certainly be communicating that to all of you. Everybody who signed up, we are working on some marketing materials in terms of options that you'll be able to see, printed options or digital options in a catalog for you. So we will send that out to you digitally via the emails you have supplied when you registered. Thank you. Look forward to working with all of you over the next couple of months. And again, don't forget, have your voice heard. If you do want to have anything submitted to DEC, please do so prior to November 15th with the information that was provided earlier. Thank you. Everybody have a great day. Take care.